have parents that are able to come home and assist because they're with homework. The parents don't have the money to send them to extra lessons or extra private classes on weekends.
Hello, Jamaica. Hello, world. Thank you once again for joining me here on the Elevata Live podcast. I'm your host, Jodi-Ann Brooks. Here on the Elevata Live podcast, I showcase the work that young people are doing across Jamaica. Oftentimes, the narrative is that young people are just entitled beings. But what this platform is designed to do is to reverse that stereotype and to showcase what young people are doing. For the past couple of weeks, I have been sharing the success stories of many youths across Jamaica. And this week, it will be no different. Last week, I had on this program the Generation Shifters, and they are doing some incredible work in their community. And these are the kind of stories that I share on this platform to educate, to entertain, and also to inspire, because we are the elevators. We are elevating the discourse. This week, I have another interesting organization to feature as I continue the feature looking on NGO organizations that are doing great work. This week, I have with me a FUI Future organization. This is a most interesting organization to have this week. And I have with me their president and founder, Miss Jodi-Ann Wright. Thank you so much, Miss Wright, for joining me here on the Elevata Live podcast. How are you?
I'm good, and how are you?
I am wonderful and even more great to have you here on the Elevata Live podcast. So share with us a little about a FUI Future. First, talk to us about why that name and what do you guys do?
A FUI Future. Listen, I was trying to figure out what's the best name for what's the best name for the organization. I didn't want to use my name. I think that's a general thing people used to do. I wanted it to be something that would live on. So if I'm no longer here, near future is something the organization will progress. So I said, listen, kids are our future. Every song speaks about children are our future, and I'm a big advocate for Jamaican patois. So I use a Jamaican dialect. I feel with future because that's what the children are, and we focus on education throughout. One of our main thing is the reading and comprehension with our children. So that's one thing we focus on, and donations to children's home and schools.
Awesome. Talk to our elevators. What motivated you to start this organization? What you would have been seeing that you thought, hey, it is important to have this organization?
Right. So growing up in Jamaica, going through school, first-hand experience, and also becoming a teacher within the same system, I was able to live through and experience the system on the other side. So from a student perspective and a teacher's perspective, to see what's actually happening. And through that, we realize that oftentimes we say parents, you need to help your children in their home, and vice versa. Teachers need to do this, teachers need to do that. What you've seen is that classrooms are overpopulated. Parents are stressed at home and I have to work juggling so many things. So we basically wanted to be the bridge between home and school, providing in between help for the students. So that's how we have the tutoring program for children that need the extra help.
Awesome. You made mention just now of a tutoring program. Talk to us about some of the successes of that program and the reach of that program.
Right. So for me, as I said before, I'm big on education, whatever I can do in that area. It's a small organization, so we're not able to expand as much as we want to in the near future, though. In the near future, but for now, we focus on our immediate community. So I live in an area. I know a young child that needs the extra help, and other members that are in the organization does the same. So if we know a child that need help, we communicate with the parents and say, hey, this is our organization, this is what we're doing, and we'd like to lend a helping hand. Success story is always the parents' feedback. It's always the parents' feedback. You know, Jamaicans are, oh, we are already saying, Miss, thank you very much. Thank you very much. You see the improvement, the growth, the enthusiasm their kids have for learning now, which is amazing, because that's what we really want, you know, just the enthusiasm to learn, and even when they're not sure, still have that drive to try and try over, you know.
Absolutely. And that kind of vision of yours and the organization, it is representative that you recognize that I really feel with future this. You have to protect the future. So great work you're doing there. But can you share with us some more of the initiatives and the programs of your organization that you have so far implemented? You said the organization was formed in 2020.
Right, yes, during the COVID pandemic. So as you know, everyone was home, locked in,
Mm-hmm.
school was online, and a lot of children were struggling. That's the first thing that we started, the tutoring. So we did virtual and also in person with the mask and everything, person that are in our area. So it's easier, we won't have to travel. That's the first thing that we started, the tutoring. And we try our best to assist as much children online as we could. We had about 4 or 5 children that we were assisting during the pandemic, and we've recently started the period drive, end period poverty drive, and we partnered with another organization for it, which we're very much excited for, just to be able to give back to schools. Our main right now is schools and girls' home, because that's something that is used up often. Going to school, I had to pay for a sanitary napkin. You know, you don't have
Mm-hmm.
one, you have to pay for it. And I think it's ridiculous because it's you're needed. If I don't have the money, would I not have it? So just
Yes.
being able to give back to the school, so we can come at a point where we don't have to charge girls for using the sanitary napkin.
Wow, that initiative invoked additional interest for me because I've been interested throughout this discussion, but that point invoked additional interest. Talk to us a little about the extent to which period poverty is an issue in Jamaica.
Right. So honestly, and they say research is very important. Going to school, you're experiencing it, you have to pay for the pad, but you weren't really thinking about what if someone doesn't have the money until you're on the opposite end and you're
Mm-hmm.
reading research and seeing girls that are actually struggling and have to stay home because they don't have the money or the pad to go to school. And her Flow Foundation, Shelly-Ann, she did a research, and that was the research that we used to say, listen, we have to get on board with this to help as much. I think if there's 5 organization, more organization, that's more schools that we're reaching in Jamaica. And the more, the better, as much as possible. So we decided that, hey, we're gonna get on board with what we're seeing happening, and try to reach schools that weren't getting the assistance, because there's a lot of schools in Jamaica they won't be able to reach as much. So we said let's do some school that we know also need the pads.
Wow, that's really great and a strategic way of having targeted impact. So we just left off the point about the starting the organization in the pandemic. But what I know is that a lot of organization would have encountered significant challenges as a result of the pandemic. Talk to us a little about the common challenges that your organization faces.
During the pandemic. As I said, we started during the pandemic, so we had to like play around everything with the pandemic. Everything was virtual. We we didn't see the students as much as we wanted to because of the pandemic. We had to like ensure, sanitization and all of that, social distancing during that period also. So we had to keep the interaction minimal. I think that would be one of our challenges because we wanted to help as much. And also the donations, because of COVID, we wouldn't have gotten enough as we wanted during because of the whole sanitization, and not everyone wanted to like collect and give,
Yes.
having interaction during that period.
Okay, I can understand. And since we're on donations, I will invite whoever is listening from corporate Jamaica, because I tell you, the Elevator Live podcast, it is reaching offices, it is reaching persons in high places. I would just extend an invitation to those listening who can come on board and to provide assistance to your organization, whether it be through cash or kind. I'm sure that that would be greatly
Awesome.
appreciated to advance the work that you're doing. So at this point, talk to our elevators a little about what you think is the biggest success of A Fewy Future thus far.
Biggest success is the tutoring program. Big on education. I'm gonna always say that. I'm gonna always say that. I'm big on education. So that's our biggest success story on my view. Being able to assist the children as much as possible. When you have a child reading below their grade level, like way below, and having them progress and are at their grade level and is more in tune with school, it's awesome. It's
Yes.
awesome. And with donations, as long as I'm able to complete a project, that's achievement for me. Big or small, as long as I'm able to get the projects done, because it's still making an impact no matter how small it is.
Wow. You made the point about being big on education. I detect that there is a story behind it. Would you mind share with us what gives you that impetus to be so strong on education?
For like, growing up in the education system, I was classified as one of the quote unquote slow students in school.
Yes.
One of those slow students in school, and after like looking back on everything, I was like, it's not about me. I just didn't have the same support system as everyone else. It wasn't necessary that I was slow. I just didn't have the same support system, which is why I'm very much big on education. Because oftentimes kids aren't slow. They just don't have the same system. Not everybody have parents that are able to come home and assist, because some parents are it's a single parent home and they have to be juggling work. They don't have someone to be at home assisting them with homework. The parents don't have the money to send them to extra lessons or extra private classes on weekends, things like that, to get them a foot over.
Yes, certainly, and that's it is reflective of the wider challenges that the society faces, and it trickles down into the education system. So I'm really happy for the work that you are doing to bridge some of that gap that exists. So share with us if someone wants to get involved or partner with your organization, how can they go about doing so?
Well, we welcome all partner, all partnership. We have there our email afewithfuture@gmail.com, or Facebook page, Instagram page, Afe with Future. All across the board, it's Afe with Future. just contact us, and we're always available, always ready to network. I'm motivated to do any. Once it's in education donations, we are right on board to get it done. At the moment, we're networking with other small nonprofits to do more projects across.
Awesome. And you made the point about networking with other organizations. That is also important to build capacity where capacity might not exist. So at this point, I want to hear your perspective on some of the challenges that, based on the work that you are doing, that you think young people are facing across Jamaica. What are some of those challenges?
Uh, Always financial challenges. That's one of the main thing. I mostly interact with young children, primary school, and that's one of the main issues that I see, and the
Mhm.
violence that it's reflecting in the classroom, and it's trying to help them to navigate them at a different to see a better way to life, and a different way of living and surviving, a different career path, how to better yourself without turning to violence and all that negativity. Just shining a newer light on them and providing that environment to nurture them.
Certainly, I can imagine the issue of violence. Share with us, how can different organizations work together in terms of addressing some of the issues that you have highlighted? Because earlier we would have been talking that a lot of organizations exist, but they are a bit working in silos. What role do you think there is for partnerships to address some of the problems we face?
Right. I mean, your platform is one of them, just to highlight the organization. Because I went on your YouTube, I was like, oh, they're here too, things like that. And never be afraid to slide in someone DM. You know that term? Well, slide in a non-profit organization DM too. Okay, slide in one of them DMs too, and say, hey, I'm doing this project. This is what we're about, and we'd like to partner with you to see how best we can go about getting it done. It's small things like that, because everyone needs the extra help, and I don't think anyone would ever reject a non-profit for a partnership. So just take the step and ask.
Absolutely. Take the step and ask a few future to to forge some form of partnership with them. So to anyone that is just joining us, because we are streaming on the different platforms on YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor. If you're just joining us, I am speaking with Jodi-Ann Wright of A Few Future. And this is an organization that is involved in delivering on the education promise of our Jamaican youth. They are doing important work, and these are the kind of stories that I showcase on this platform. We retake the narrative about young people. So thank you for joining me as usual. So as we get to the end of this episode, Miss Wright, can you share some advice with a young person who is feeling hopeless? They don't get a sense that there is a better tomorrow. What would you say to them at this point?
I've been in your shoe. That's the first statement. I've been in your shoe. I think we always have those down moments when we're wondering, like, what is it am I supposed to be doing? How do I take the next step? finding a confidant, just finding the right circle is also important. People around you that encourage you during those downtime to say, hey, listen, it's okay to feel like this. Take a minute, cry, and then brush yourself off. Let's start planning. Get a book, get a pencil, and we're going to figure out what is it you want to do and start making a plan. And also, it's okay to take small steps. We don't need to be leaping. We don't need to be leaping. It's okay to take those small steps and never look at someone else's journey. Don't look at, I mean, you can look at it, but don't aspire to it and don't compare yourself to it. You get what I'm saying? So figure out who you are, take those small steps, don't compare yourself to anyone, not because they're over all the way up there. Figure out yourself and take those steps. And each step you take, give yourself a round of applause. Clap yourself. Each step you take, give yourself a round of applause because those pat on the shoulder is what helps you keep going up, you know? That's what I have to say.
Certainly, and those are some powerful advice that I'm sure a young person listening this podcast can benefit from, because there is a lot of hopelessness, despair around, but oftentimes young people just require that one person to share an inspiring story. So share with us, where do you see a future in the next, say, 5 years from now?
Big things. Big things. As I said, the education want to get much volunteers as possible, partnerships so that we can expand our tutoring program and reading program because we want to focus on reading and comprehension just to assist as much children as possible. So getting the tutors and the partnership to see how best, that's what we're working on, how best we can achieve that goal. So that's what's in the next 5 years. After future, the Organization for Education, Literacy, Reading.
Awesome. You made a point about your hope to have more tutors. Share with us some little more about your current numbers of tutors that you have, and where do you see your organization going?
Right. So for now, most of our members are also teachers. So we automatically become tutors also. So that we have around 5, 6 teachers in the organization. We have a guidance counselor in the organization. So we're able to be tutors also, and other persons in other organizations are graduates. So they're able to be tutors also. Students in primary schools. That's where we want to focus on right now at the
Mm-hmm.
moment. So, before we want to get them before they get to high school. So to just build them up, get them to where they need to be. So once they're in high school, they're not at a disadvantage. And further on, we want to then focus on the students in high school because a lot of them need the extra help also.
Awesome. Great plans you have just articulated. But if I can pick your brain before we wrap up, because we're getting closer to that mark, what are the greatest challenge that you're seeing in the education system? Because you're a teacher also, so I know you're fully abreast of those challenges.
Yeah, the overcrowded classroom is number one. Overcrowded classrooms, and one of the main thing that I also speak on. I hope no one say anything about me, but listen, I always say that students are placed in the streaming. I get the point of streaming the students. I get that point so that teachers are able to work with them. However, At the end of the day, all of these students are getting this given the same period of time to complete the curriculum, which places the students that need the extra help at a disadvantage. Because if you're given 1 week to do 3 topics, each class has to complete the 3 topics. What happened to these children that may need an extra week? That's it. That's one of my issues. We need to do something, because we can be saying it's fear when everyone is expected to do the same exam and cover the curriculum within the same time when you have children that need extra time to get the information.
Oh, that's a serious point that you have made there, and it brings about issues of equity and how we are not necessarily responding to the best needs of our students. And I'm sure that over time, your organization will be able to assist in some way, shape, or form to this cause. So as we get to the end of the episode, share with our audience, our listening and viewing audience, your final words. What are your hopes and aspirations for Jamaican youth?
Just positivity. That's what I need. There's a whole lot of negative going on right now. So just positivity, and the persons that are working, doing awesome thing, just put it on a billboard somewhere so that these young people and children growing up can see that there is a better way, and it's okay to walk this way and not be doing some crazy things out there to be somebody. It's okay to have morals and values. It's okay to be living a right life. It's okay not being a part of the crowd. It's okay to just be you and follow your dreams. Follow your dreams, no matter how hard it is, no matter how long it may take you to get there. Just follow your dreams.
Follow your dreams because I feel a future. This has been a rather interesting and refreshing discussion that we have had on this episode of the Elevator Live podcast with Odin. I had the opportunity of sharing the story of a Fewy Future, and I spoke with Jodi-Ann Wright. She is the president and the founder of this organization. And these are the kind of stories that I share here on this platform, because I believe that we have to retake the narrative about young people. I want to congratulate you, Jodi-Ann, on the work that you're doing. It is excellent work. And I believe that the focus area of your organization is particularly needed at this point if we are to correct the issues of education that we are facing as a country. So congratulations again on the work that you're doing. And thank you for joining me here on the Elevator Live podcast. This has been the Elevator Live podcast for another week. I am now going the 8th episode, getting closer to that 10th episode. We're a very young podcast doing great things out here, and we thank you so much for always listening, providing the feedback, and also commenting. Join me next week when I will share another NGO that is doing excellent work in their community. Continue to partner with us as I continue to elevate and to retake the discourse. This has been the Elevator Live podcast. I'm your host, Jodi-Ann Brooks. See you soon.